Advisory. Sorry about that. Welcome to the GT Parent Advisory Committee informational open meeting. My name is Wendy Pennings, and I am the president this year of the GT PAC. And I am excited to be with you today to help you understand more about what GT PAC is and where we fit into the district. To give you just a little bit of an outlook of what we will be covering today. We will begin with the welcome and introductions. Then we will discuss in detail about what is the GT Parent Advisory Committee, what role do we play in Fort Bend ISD, and how you can find all the information you probably want about it online. Then we'll just give you a little glimpse of what we did last year and what we're hoping to accomplish this year. We will end with how to become a member of the GT PAC and expectation for members. And then if time allows, which I'm really hoping that it does, we will have a Q&A. There is the Q&A in the chat. I might post in the chat a little later also for those that come in late. But it's also on every website in the upper left-hand corner. And we're using this website to help monitor our Q&A. So we'll pick our questions from there. So to get started, I want to do some introductions. I want to introduce you to this year's executive board for the 2021-2022 school year. Again, as I said, my name is Wendy Pennings, and I am the president. A little bit about me. This is my third year on the GT PAC, and last year I was the president-elect, which is why I'm the president this year. And I have 4 children, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, and 2 in elementary school. And they're actually all identified as gifted and talented. So I kind of get the spectrum of what it's like at the different levels. To introduce the president-elect this year is Amit Kumar. Would you like to say hello?
Hey everybody, this is Amit Kumar, president-elect. This is my second year on the GT PAC, part of the Colony Meadows Elementary in Sugar Land. I've got a 9-year-old daughter who's in grade 4. Thank you.
And the secretary this year is Kim Hipsch. Kim, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, everybody. I am Kim Hipsch. I have 3 kids in the district, 1 in middle school and 2 in elementary. This is my 3rd year on the PAC, and I'm also the outgoing president. So Wendy and I have worked together before, and we're excited to work together again.
Yes. And Sharon Thorne Green is the parliamentarian. She was not feeling well today and couldn't come today, so we can't introduce her. We do work closely with the Fort Bend ISD GT department staff. There'll be several of them that you'll see regularly at meetings, but also others that come in occasionally. And so I wanted to introduce those that are here at the meeting and just let you know who are a part of the GT department staff. So we have Dr. Lori Westfall, who is the director. Do you want to say hello, Lori?
I totally want to say hello, Lori, just because of the way you said it. It's completely fine. Dr. Lori Westfall, I know probably a lot of you have seen my name on the website and such, but if you are new to the GT PAC, you will get to hear kind of a little update from me every month. So this won't be the end.
Thank you, Dr. Westfall. We have Crystal Wilson, who's the elementary program manager. We have Aisha Coleman Holmes, who is the secondary program manager and one of the key people that works with the GT PAC. Would you like to say hello?
Good evening, everyone, and I'm elated, but one of my roles here in Fort Bend ISD is to support the PAC. So I'm here for whatever need any needs you may have.
Thank you. We also have Camila Holmes, who is the GT Academy coordinator, Dr. Joseph Calhill, the curriculum integration coordinator, and Nancy Bryant, the GT mentorship specialist. And she's also somebody that my subcommittee last year did work with. And so again, you have, and I also worked with Camila Holmes. So you definitely interact with some of these people being a part of the GT PAC. Okay, so I want to just start by giving the official definition of what is the GT Parent Advisory Committee. This is found in our bylaws. So the official definition is the purpose of the GT Parent Advisory Committee is to provide insight, support, and encouragement to the gifted and talented department and the Fort Bend ISD gifted and talented community in order to facilitate the continuous improvement and success of the Fort Bend ISD gifted and talented program. So how we accomplish this is I identify needed resources for GT students and their families through collaboration with schools, the district, and the community. We contribute suggestions concerning policies and program improvements in GT services. We advocate for GT students, families, schools, and the district program in an effort to promote the awareness of our unique social and emotional needs of GT students. We cultivate a strong GT community by creating opportunities for positive interactions between families, schools, and the community. We facilitate community education with a focus on bridging the gap between community feedback and district actions. And finally, we fulfill the Texas State Plan for Education of Gifted and Talented Students, Section 5, Family Community Involvement Standard of having a parent advisory committee. So it's actually part of the Texas education law that we are required to have this, so we're helping to fulfill it. But our desire is to be much more of just having it to have it. So that again is a summary. That last one was a summary of what is in the bylaws. And so these are the official definitions, but I want to go over these definitions to just give more meaning to them. And so when I look at the GT PAC, and actually the whole GT program in Fort Bend ISD, I think of this square, this green square that's in front of us, and green representing the growth of GT students, because our heart is to provide for the GT students. So how are we going to do that? Well, there's many components in the district that are part of that puzzle that help to provide growth to the GT students. And so some of the components are as listed. And I want to say that the three in the middle, the GT PAC, the GT Task Force, and the GT Department are three I really want to hone in today and explain the differences between these three. But additional components are COGS, teachers, campus administration, students, counselors, and other district administration. So there's a lot of people that play a part in really providing growth to GT students. So to kind of summarize what we've already talked about with what is the GT PAC, it consists of parents of GT students. And so one thing that's different about this is that it's all composed of parents of GT students. As you see, I'm leading this meeting because the parents are running it. It's for the parents. The parents make the decision about what we're going to do. We have help from the GT department, but it really is parent-led. At the meetings, there is representation from the GT Task Force and the GT department. And so I'll talk about the task force in a minute. But as I said, Dr. Westfall and Ms. Holmes are at these meetings and occasionally other people. And so we have representation at our meetings. The purpose is to provide insight, support, and encouragement to the GT department and community. And we do this by giving feedback, cultivating community, advocating, and bridging the gap between the district and the families. And another significant thing about the GT PAC is every member is part of a subcommittee. We typically have 4 subcommittees and every member will be part of a subcommittee. So that sums up the GT PAC. Now on to the GT Task Force. So the GT Task Force is different, has different roles, and is even consisting of a different group of people. So it consists of the GD department, teachers, campus administrators. There's actually 4 parents that are on the GT Task Force, but only 4. The GT PAC president, so I will be a part of it this year representing GT PAC, community members, and even GT students. And so it's just a wide variety of people that are a part of the task force. The subcommittees of the task force are run by the GT department employees. So it's really like, they're really driving the GT task force. The task force researches, informs, recommends, and suggests best practices for growing and strengthening the GT program. So it's a little different from us. When I said what we were, it's a little different. They're really focused on implementing the 5-year plan, which we'll hear about in a little bit. They meet multiple times a month. So instead of like the meeting once a month that we do, the task force actually meets multiple times. And just to share, we do give a GT task force update at the GT PAC. Because we work so closely with them, we want to know what's going on and be updated with what they're working on. And so we actually have a GT task force representative that is part of the PAC. I don't know, Kathy, if you're here, but I'd love you to hop on and say hello.
I am here. You can't see me though, but I am here and I'm happy to be a part of this again this year.
Thanks, Kathy. So that is the GT task force. And the last component I want to talk about is the GT department. So for the GT department, I always have to move my bubble of where people are, so I apologize for that. Okay, so this consists of employees of Fort Bend ISD. So all those people that I read to you earlier are all employees. And the goal of the GT department is to ensure GT programming aligns with the GT state plan. And they implement the task map objectives in conjunction with the upper level district management. So where the PAC is giving suggestions in the parent's perspective, the GT department is implementing that and having the strategy and using the task force to be able to implement those things. And we always give a GT department update at our GT PAC meetings. So one of the things I love about being on the GT PAC is it really informs me of what's going on in the district, because I'm hearing updates from the task force, I'm hearing updates from the GT department. I feel like I have a better understanding of what's going on in the district in the GT programming because of that. So that is the components of the GT program. I hope that it really gave you this clear distinction between these entities. But I do want to just sum up again what the GT PAC is. It's an advisory group to communicate parent concerns to the district. We provide support and encouragement to parents of identified GT students. We provide insight to the district from a parent's perspective, and we are a parent liaison to the campus. That last one is something we're trying to work on more this year. So if you were a part of it last year and you're saying we might not have done that as much, that's one of the goals of this year. And what GT PAC is not, we cannot change curriculum, teacher training, or general GT programming. We do not enforce what needs to be done, and we cannot address individual student issues. Again, if you have any questions, you can be, maybe now if I can pull up the chat. Oh, thank you, Dr. Westfield, for doing that. So if you have any questions at any time, you can submit it to that link on the chat. It's also located on the upper left-hand corner if you can't view the chat, and we will be doing question and answers at the end. So I just want to share with you that most of the stuff that I shared, you can find on our GT PAC website. And we're going to just look at a few screenshots to show you what is available, because I think that a lot of the questions that we get in are actually answered on the website. And so I think it's really helpful for GT parents to understand what is available to them on the website. So Dr. Westphal is going to explain the next two slides, if I can.
I also, excuse me, I also went ahead and put in the chat the GT PAC website. And I know that you can see at the top of the page, the slide that Wendy has shared with you. As you all know, Fort Bend ISD kind of does it where there's a number code, and then we also can do some custom URLs. So the GT PAC actually has a custom URL. It's fortbendisd.com/GT PAC. GT actually has their custom as well. It's /GT. So you'll see both of those in the chat. So kind of looking, and you can either go there and look live, or you can look at what Wendy's kind of pulled for us. It's excellent. We have a screenshot. So you'll see along the left-hand side, we have the menu, and the PAC, the Parent Advisory Committee, actually has its own section of that menu. You can get there by clicking on that. You'll see what we have here. You'll notice that we have our membership drive right now, which is why some of you hopefully might be here. That's mentioned. And there's some circled areas that really are kind of important. The green circle that you see over on the right-hand side, there's two things really here. There's the PAC membership, which is a link to a document which is going to show you all of the different parents that represent the different campuses. So that shows you kind of what our membership looks like. It, of course, has not been updated for this year, but it will be once we've kind of gone through our membership drive. The other piece that's in green here is the GT PAC bylaws. And that's what Wendy was talking about earlier. She summed for you, or yeah, that's the right word. She summed for you some different pieces of those bylaws, but those are just a small piece. So if you want to check those out, those are here. The other key piece that will always be placed on this website is in orange. And you'll see that that was April 14th, the GT PAC meeting. That's actually all of our different meetings are recorded, just like this one is, and we post them on the website. This recording today, I usually have it up, depending on how long it takes, by noon the next day. So you'll see that the April 14th, they just keep stacking. So you actually can go through and see all of the work that was done last year just by revisiting those videos. So that's kind of an overview of your GT PAC page. And the other page Wendy wanted me to talk about was our programming page, which again, go over to the left. Once you've gotten to fortbendisd.com/GT, you will see your options along the left. Go ahead and if you click on the FBISD GT programming, you will see this page. And you need to know that as new programs roll out, they get a little banner, and then that banner leads to different programming. So I know some of you might be at campuses that are piloting Innovation Hour or GT Learning Plans. Everyone has TPSP. Some campuses have the Vista Talent Pool. These are all linked. So if you click on them, you're going to go to a page with a lot of information about it. But one of the pieces that I wanted to make sure I mentioned that supports what Wendy was talking about is that 5-year plan. It began with the task force about 1.5 years ago. We went through the GT state plan, Texas state plan, I should say, and looked at all of the different requirements set forth by the state. Based on those plans, the state plan, we have developed our plan and designed 5 years to get a lot of those new ideas flowing. So if you click on the 5-year plan here, you're going to see kind of an overview of each of the different areas of the state plan and all of the different work that's being done. So if you want to know what's coming up, it basically tells you that you have what we've completed, what's in progress, and what's coming. So it really kind of outlines the work of the GT task force. And I know sometimes people might be wondering what's coming for GT in Fort Bend ISD. That 5-year plan will tell you.
Thank you, Dr. Westphal. Okay. So now we want to just give you a glimpse of what we've done in the past, because it helps you get a good, accurate picture of what we're all about. And so Kim is going to share a little bit looking back on last year and what we accomplished. We accomplished a lot last year. I think it was a good growth year for the GT PAC. And so Kim, would you like to share?
Yep, I'm here. So first we wanted to just let everybody know what our subcommittees were last year to give you an idea of what we were working on. One subcommittee was dedicated to the Parent Symposium, as it will be again this year. That's obviously an important part of what the PAC does in terms of providing community support. Other subcommittees were focused on how to support elementary students, how to support secondary students, and how to improve communication about GT issues. So just as an example of some of the things we accomplished, I hope some of you were able to attend our Parent Symposium. It was really well done. Wendy and her team ran a new program in Zoom, and it was the first time that the PAC had really fully been in charge of the Parent Symposium, and it went really well, and it was, I think, really well received. So we're excited about this kind of next phase of the symposium. And then just to give you an idea of what some of the subcommittees do, I will say that the communication subcommittee, for example, was kind of focused on both increasing communication about GT issues and also standardizing that communication across the district. So the committee kind of talked about what we thought the shortcomings were of the current communication plan. And we sent a letter based on that to the GT department to kind of explain to them what we were concerned about. And, they took all those suggestions in. Many of them have been implemented, and I expect everyone's going to feel like we see a positive improvement in communication as we go through this current school year. And I see Wendy flip. So just everybody, that symposium sessions were recorded and are still available. So if you're new to GT or you weren't available for some of those sessions, but when I look back on them now, they're still on the symposium page. So you can go in and kind of see what we did last year and get an idea of how you might want to get involved in symposium planning for this year.
Thanks, Kim. Yes, this symposium page just has a lot of the information that was given. One of the benefits of doing it online through Zoom was that we could record sessions. And so the Parent Symposium, if you're not aware of it, is for parents by parents. So it's completely parent run. And this past year, there was a keynote speaker, but and we had Dr. Westphal, so that's the one with the play thing there. We had her do a kind of like a State of the Union, a state of the GT department. And so she talked about all that is going on. It's very informative. If you want to watch it, I highly recommend it. But then we had multiple seminars presented by parents of issues that are dear to us that we feel like could help other parents too. And so these are just 2 examples, but the rest down below, if you keep scrolling below, you'll get to actually watch the videos for those. The 2 you see there are just the audio. But anyways, you can go and you can listen to all those things, and it's very helpful. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what's ahead of us. And so just to share, like, the GT PAC members are who decides what the subcommittees are. We do 4 subcommittees, and one has to be the symposium. So we'll pick 3 others, but that's going to be like voted in by the members. And the executive board have come up with 6 options to vote from, but we're willing to hear if somebody feels like there's an additional one. So these aren't the concreted ones to vote on, but these are the ones that we have come up with. So the symposium, like like we had said. Another one is to increase GT PAC participation in campus interaction. So there's some campuses that don't have representation on the GT PAC. So how can we get members from those campuses? But also it's like a two-way thing. We also want to increase interactions of us GT PAC members being able to be represented on the campus where we can be interacting with the campus more. So that's what that subcommittee, if voted in, would be. Secondary student social and emotional support, maybe planning meetings for students and or parents. A GT PAC parent mentorship. So the idea of this is that a lot of times when there's a new GT parent, they just have a lot of questions of how to support their child. So we were thinking of developing a program where they can be mentored with more veteran parents to be able to help that. So creating that program. The G department does a family series, and they've asked if we might do one of those family series. So this subcommittee would be planning for that family series. And then the last one is just gathering resources for parents to put on our website so that we can have resources to give to parents. So those are some of the ideas that we'll vote from. Okay. And last but not least, becoming a member. So just a few things about becoming a member. The GT PAC is made up of at least 1 to 3 parent or guardians from each campus. So so the process is you fill out a parent interest form to say, I'm interested in being a part of it. And if there are 3 or less people from your campus, then you're automatically on. If there's 4 or more people interested from your campus, there will be a lottery. The top 3 will be on, and the rest will be on a wait list. Last year, we only had 3 campuses with a wait list, just to let you know. We will meet for 90 minutes once a month. So we will typically meet on the 2nd Wednesday of the month from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Zoom. The exception is February. We'll meet on September 15th, which is the 3rd, but because this meeting is so late, we want to do that one. The meetings consist, as I said before, of updates from the district and the GT task force, and the GT PAC updates about what's happening on the different subcommittees. And then just to also share, some subcommittees might meet additionally for a subcommittee meeting, but those aren't the ones that are, like, they're highly recommended you go to, but they're not the ones that we take attendance at. All members are encouraged to be in communication with their COGs to ensure the most effective representation. So that's kind of an expectation that we have. Again, it's something that we didn't do as much last year, but we're really trying, like, that's really the vision for where the GT PAC should be. And we're going to try to make changes this year on that. And then also just to share that if a GT PAC member misses 3 meetings during the school year, and if there's a wait list, you might be replaced by somebody on that wait list. That did happen last year. So, and this is the last, this is the Gifted and Talented homepage that Dr. Westphal talked about. And on the homepage is where you can click to fill out that interest form if you're interested in joining the GT PAC. So now's our time for our question and answer. Amit is going to lead that with any questions that have been on that website. I'll keep this slide up for just a little bit.
All right, we have quite a few questions coming up. The first one is, I think, what is COGS? Wendy, do you want to take that one?
Sure. This is actually, yeah, I think there's a lot of people that don't know what that is. And it's one of the things that I'm really passionate about. Like, we need to share and inform people. But COGS stand for Champions of Gifted Services. And so every campus has a COGS, and that's the main person that kind of helps the teachers be able to do the GT services. And so the COGS meet with my understanding. Dr. Westphal, you can jump in, or Ms. Holmes, you can jump in. But the COGS meet with the district to learn what their responsibilities, and then they filter it to their campuses through the teachers. And so they're the people that are the champions of gifted services.
Perfect.
So to add a little more to what you were saying, Wendy, our COGS are basically teachers. They are identified teachers on the campuses who serve as a liaison between the district and the campus, at the campus level. And we meet monthly. We hold monthly meetings, and we discuss like GT initiatives that are going on in the district, as well as if there's information that need to be pushed off the parents, different events that may be happening or occurring here in the district for GT students. So basically they're that communication piece. We meet with them monthly. They share with teachers, they meet with the administrators on their campus, basically sharing the information that was shared at the monthly meeting. And they hold, but they facilitate professional development with the teachers. And so, and let me think what else. They have like a large role, but they also communicate with the students. They to ensure that the students are aware of events and opportunities for them as well.
All right, Aisha, just staying with you again. Could you just talk about the timelines and when the communication regarding GT PAC selection and nomination is going to go out, and who all can attend the PAC meetings?
Sure. Okay, so the membership drive actually ends on August 31st. So the way that the PAC is set up, parents are allowed to serve, according to the bylaws, 3 years. So we have returning members who are still serving out their time, and then those that are new. Each campus is allotted 3 representatives. So some campuses may, I guess, have the actual 3 and some don't. So if there is a case or a scenario where there are more than 3 people who want to serve as the campus representative, then we have what we call a lottery, and basically put the names in a hat, and we select, randomly select 3 individuals to represent that campus. So the timeline is the membership drive ends on August 31st. On September 1st, we will hold our actual lottery. And then on the 3rd, we will actually notify the new PAC members of who's been selected. So you will know no later than September 3rd, and the first meeting will be held September 15th.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I also want to add that if there's still openings on your campus and you missed that deadline, you can still join the PAC, or you can still try to recruit people from your campus even after that deadline, as long as there's no, as long as those spots aren't full.
Absolutely. You're correct, Wendy.
Right. Thank you, Ali. Next one, Wendy, couple of them for you. Can parents, GT parents, still attend the PAC meeting if they're not even if they're not part of the PAC? If they're not representing the schools.
I don't know the exact answer, but I would probably, I don't know, Dr. Westphal, I would say everyone's allowed to watch the videos, but I would say that the actual meetings are just for the members, because I did forget to mention this, but how the meetings are structured, the first 10 to 15 minutes is when we do all the updates with everyone. And then we break out into out rooms where we do our subcommittees. So the majority of the 90 minutes are in our subcommittees. And so, and then the recordings are just that first, 10 to 20 minutes of updates. And so if you're really wanting to go to get all the updates, they will always be available online. But I think the actual meetings are limited to the actual members. Is that correct? Okay, Dr. Westphal says that's correct.
All right, next one for you, Wendy, is how does somebody volunteer for being part of the task force on the subcommittees? I know you covered that briefly. If you can just repeat that, that'll be great.
Okay. So the question is, how does somebody volunteer for the task force? Okay, so again, I think that this is one of the questions that really came up a lot. There's just a lot of confusion between what's the difference of PAC versus the task force, especially when we give task force updates at the meetings. That's why I wanted to make it like super clear that it's two different entities, different purposes, different. And so I think the thing to realize is that really there are only 4 parents that are on the task force. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but those people, like, they stay on it because a lot of them are working on these long-term goals. So they're not going to like filter in new people and catch them up. And so as long as they can be on it, they're on it. And so there's usually not tons of openings for parents on the task force. And I think when they are, it's by invitation. And so that's just the reality. So I don't know in that question, if they're asking about the subcommittees, if they're talking about the task force subcommittees or the PAC subcommittees.
The PAC subcommittees.
Okay. So at our first, actually, I think how we're going to do it this year is when you formally get invited on, like if you're one of the people for your campus and you formally get on it, we will send you out a Google form with an explanation of the different subcommittees so that we can vote on it. And then we'll announce the ones that we voted on. And then at some point you'll get to pick which one you're going to be on. We haven't decided if you'll pick at that time. No, because we won't know which ones were picked. So probably at the first meeting, we'll announce which ones are the subcommittees. And then you'll have a chance to like pick which one you want to be on. And then that's the one you are on for the remainder of the year.
Perfect. Thank you. Dr. Westphal, the next one probably for you. How are the GT programs by each grade different than the normal curriculum that we run on the campuses?
First of all, it's going to depend on the grade levels. So for example, if we were looking at elementary, as you all know, based on what the state has put forth for us, kinder, through the identification process, their services begin in March. So depending on how the campus has organized their teachers and trained their teachers, in kinder, you may actually see a modified, not pull out, but once children are identified, they may actually go to an identified teacher or teacher who has their training, because the children have to receive services once you hit that March 1st. Some campuses are going to make sure that all the teachers are trained so the children remain in that classroom. And they may receive curricular alternatives in elementary. They may have a little bit of an accelerated curriculum, meaning they're allowed to quote unquote compact test out. Fort Bend ISD, for the curriculum, kind of as the backbone of the curriculum, if you will, has progressions. And what the progression does is it actually has samples of how do you determine where a child is in that content. So you have anywhere from developing all the way to advanced. And one of the key pieces that you will see in those opportunities in gifted classrooms is when the children in elementary are working at the proficient and advanced levels, they are receiving something else. So it might be, like I said, we've worked very hard to put what are called curricular alternatives into the curriculum to replace some of the things that the children already know. And I'm a big proponent of not having a child sit through a lesson when they already understand that content. So in elementary, I know I'm kind of all over the place. It's because I'm thinking of, I don't know what the grade level question was about, but I can be more specific if I know an exact grade level. But we also have our children clustered with other gifted children, which also allows for small group. So when we have our small groups, then our gifted children tend to be together. And the teacher is going to do some differentiation in those small groups. If we're doing reading, then it might be different literature that they're reading. It might be different literary questions that they're processing. It varies depending on how those groupings occur. In middle school, when the children hit 6th grade, Right now, and I say right now because our task force is working diligently at some other options here, but right now in grades 6 through 12, our gifted children are served through the AAC program, the Advanced Academic Classes. And when they reach AP classes, they are served through AP classes. So when they hit middle school, it looks just a little bit different right now. But if you are interested in some of the things that are coming for secondary, the task force has kind of posted some information about that under those 5-year task maps. And I know I may not have been quite specific enough, but if you are looking for specific information for your student or your child, at your campus, please reach out to your teacher, your student's teacher, and ask them about what type of services are happening right then. And if you want just more general information, you can always reach out to our office and we can provide some of that too.
Dr. Westphal, I think you answered the question. It was for a third grade, but that's covered. Thank you for that. The next couple of ones are also for you. The first one is, how does a district measure the success of a GT program?
That's that's a really good question. I'm going to give you what I believe the textbook answer should be, right? And then I'm going to give you my personal answer should be. And those of you who have been through this with me in the GT PAC, you kind of know that I tend to do that anyway. So as far as measuring the success of a GT program, it quite literally goes back to the Texas plan. So the Texas state plan for gifted and talented students, it's available. It's what TEA has determined as what effective GT programming across the state entails. So if you pull up that plan, I don't know how many pages it is now. It was originally designed in 1997. It went through a reiteration in 2009, I believe, and it just now changed again. So what they have done is they have gone through, and there's really 5 areas, and that's what our 5-year task maps are based on. There's 5 areas of the GT state plan, and then within each of those areas, there are standards. For each of those standards, there's an acceptable piece and an exemplary piece. Now, by the way, some standards only have exemplary. So when we look at a successful program, what we are doing is looking at alignment with what the state says needs to happen. So when you have evaluations, or we go in and look at what is the program or what is our department doing with the program, we are looking at our alignment with the Texas state plan. That's really, like I said, that's where our 5-year task maps come from, is that alignment. And again, we must be acceptable to be in compliance, right? We need to be in compliance, but there are so many opportunities for exemplary. So that 5-year task map is moving us towards some of those exemplary pieces. So that is the official answer, right? If in Texas, if we are measuring the success of a GT program, that's what we are measuring. Now, my personal answer to that would be when we go out into the classrooms and I do walkthroughs, Ms. Holmes does walkthroughs, our entire department is out on campuses visiting gifted classrooms as well as non-gifted classrooms, but we are visiting classrooms. And to me, one of the most successful experiences is when you walk in and you see the children engaged and they're smiling and they just want to show you what they've done. And I know there was a question about Innovation Hour, and we went virtual last year. And I will tell you, we had a 2nd grade Innovation Hour class that didn't care that they were virtual. And I have never seen research done at such a complex level with 2nd graders. And they just wanted to talk in the excitement. And I look at that, and for me, that's the true success, that we're seeing opportunities that we're offering for students, initiatives that we're rolling out that are being embraced, and the children are just, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Now, that being said, the state does not require that. But to me, that's where the success is.
Awesome. No, that was good. Do you want to comment a little bit more on the Innovation Hour, or we just let parents contact the district?
For Innovation Hour, I saw that there was a question specifically. It was a very specific question.
Right. Yeah.
So for the person who had asked a very specific question about Innovation Hour, if you want to reach out to us, I will put the email address in the chat. It's also on our webpage. But please reach out to us with a specific question, because in order to address something specific for your child, we need additional information about the campus and et cetera to be able to kind of follow up and give you some more information, as well as the expectations. So Innovation Hour in general, so you do know, it is one of our pilots. We did add additional campuses this year. If you go to that page under programming and click on Innovation Hour, you will see the campuses that are involved. It does start with 2nd grade and 6th grade and then grows each year. So if your campus had 2nd grade this year, you will have 2nd and 3rd grade. If you had 2nd grade this year, next year you'll have 2nd and 3rd. So it grows with the children. But if you have specific questions, and like I said, the question that I saw here, reach out to us at the email address that I'm going to put in the chat, and we'll give you some additional information.
Yep, I've shared the email with the parent, but feel free to put there, Dr. Westphal. Aisha, next one for you. If a parent is trying to figure out something about the GT program, of course, they'll reach out to the COGS, the GT administrator of the school. If they don't get anything from there, then who do they reach out to? The school principal, or is there a separate escalation path or email or contact people that they should reach out to?
Oh, sorry. If they have a specific question, they can always use the general GT email, gtfbisd@fortbend.com, fortbendisd.com, and we will disseminate who should answer or who should respond to the question through the email. So basically, if there's an issue with the COG and you're not getting, I guess, a response that you need, I would recommend that you just use the GT department's email address and email us, and then that way we can follow up.
Thanks, Aisha. Dr. Westphal, back to you. Very specific question on what's the percentage of admission conversion at the middle school GT Academy, and what percentage of students who apply and what percentage you actually get through?
Okay. Well, so the GTA. So if I understand the question correctly, is how many children on an annual basis, approximately how many we see apply and how many get in?
Yeah.
So one of the things that comes into play at the GTA is, well, two really big things: space and personnel. So in other words, we have to make sure that there's enough space for the incoming group, and then we have to make sure that we have enough teachers and that our classes are not 45 and 50 children. Now, that being said, I do know that throughout the years, there have been, and I actually could pull the exact number. It's not a secret, meaning that we could actually pull that as part of what is a public data request. But I can tell you that I came in 2019. So I missed the application piece because I came in March of 2019. But for the 2 years that there have been lotteries, all of the children who have applied and met the criteria. Now that's important because we sometimes will have children who apply, but they actually are not identified as GT. It does happen because we have our cluster model. So it is possible that we have some children that apply that are not qualified for the GTA. That sounds, but it is. All of the children who have applied, even those that were on wait lists, have made it into the GTA. And I say that, and I'm trying to think if I can, but I believe both years the wait list was cleared. Now, that does not necessarily mean that all those children were in right away, because sometimes what happens is the family decides that they want to have their child in the GTA, and then they may change their mind. Or they didn't necessarily want to. We've had this happen in the past where they were on the wait list, but they really didn't want to have to wait to decide what they were going to do. And every family needs to make those decisions for themselves. So as far as our numbers, and I'm trying to think if I can say that, I believe that I can. However, if this is specific for you, you are welcome to send us an email and I will pull the numbers. It's one of those things where we usually on the wait list have anywhere from 45 to 50 children on the wait list when the lottery is initially conducted. but that wait list really goes down very quickly by July because plans change, or maybe they find out that their friend is going to a different school and they didn't want to be without their friends. There's a lot of things that happen between lottery and the beginning of school. But let me know if you want the exact numbers. I'm happy to look that up.
Thank you, Dr. Westphal. Aisha, back to you. Two related questions. One, how often or when are the students communicated about GT program and activities on the school? And second is, once the program is underway, how often, if at all, do we take feedback from the kids on how the program is going?
Can you repeat the first question?
First part is, when the program starts, let's say a student is in the 5th grade and the program starts, when do the GT students get communicated about what are their activities and curriculum for the year? And second is, once the program is underway, do you take feedback from the students?
So, Dr. Westphal, I'm gonna ask you to, I'm gonna divert this to you. I'm sorry.
It's like, pass. I'm on it. Okay, so the first thing is about talking to children and getting feedback for their campus program. So that is something that actually becomes kind of a campus by campus decision. So I know that we have had some campuses, we've had some COGs, our champion of gifted services, right? We have had some COGs that, and actually kind of their principal and GT administrator on campus want to have that feedback, and they've done surveys with their students. We have done surveys in the department, but that's not necessarily specific to a campus. In other words, I mentioned earlier that we have some projects planned for secondary GT, including independent studies and GT specific secondary courses. Both of those involve student feedback. So we sent out surveys to all of our secondary students to better understand what services they're really looking for. So our department is communicating when these new initiatives are taking place. I do know, of course, that we have the audit that's coming up, and I know that different focus groups for students were put together for that. At a campus level, however, it is very much based on the principal and what the campus wants to do. That's not necessarily something that would be out of line, though. In fact, Kim mentioned earlier that they gave us some suggestions from the parent point of view, and we really did listen to those suggestions. We put into place what we could, and we're working on others. That might be something that we bring in. I know that some of our parents on the task force, in fact, one of them is on Aisha's subcommittee, has always advocated for student voice. So that's a key piece of what we want to do. So I know that was one of the questions was, do campuses do that? And that's a campus-based decision, but our department does that. And then the second question, Amit, I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat it again.
It was, when do the G2 students get to know about the curriculum for the year, and how often are they pulled into activities on campuses?
The curriculum is, the way that the curriculum is designed now is it is not truly a separate curriculum. And I believe, was this the 5th grade question? Okay. In 5th grade, the curriculum is not a separate curriculum. It is different opportunities. So in other words, if I have a 5th grade child who is GT in math and science, they would be, depending on the number of students, in a clustered group in that math class. So as far as knowing about a special GT curriculum at those ages, it is a differentiated experience for the students, but it's not a separate curriculum. There are other, this is kind of like, what is it, Miracle on 54th Street, where they mention other stores other than Macy's. But for us, there are other districts locally that have a separate GT curriculum. So, and this may be coming from someone who's new to the district, meaning they're used to a pull-out program or they're used to a separate something that the children are going to. Our children are served within the classroom by GT trained teachers. And our curriculum is now set up, especially in elementary, to have those progressions that support the use of alternate activities to replace, not in addition to, but to replace something they already know. And I know that that may not be as exact of an answer. And if it's more specific for you, meaning you're thinking about a specific teacher, a specific situation, please reach out to our district, please reach out to our email, the district email. And we usually can put you in touch with someone on campus who would be able to answer those specific questions for you.
Perfect.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question.
Yep.
These have been really great questions. If there's one that's specific.
Last one,
Okay,
last one, I think, Wendy.
Okay.
Again, GTA related, there was some study done by some consultants that was shared with the parents over the summers. Are there actions plan related to that will get communicated out soon to the parents? Dr. Westphal, are you aware of this?
I am. I wasn't sure you were speaking so confidently. I thought you were going to answer the question. I was going to totally let you do it.
No clue. It's all yours to handle.
Okay. Yes. The GTA did have it was not an audit. I believe it was an investigation. Ms. Holmes, Camila Holmes, who is our coordinator at the Gift and Talent Academy, would be irritated with me if I use the wrong term. But Dr. Lynette Breedlove came and met with students, met with parents, and wrote up a very complete document about where the GTA is now, what types of recommendations were being made for that. The GTA has assembled a group. It has an acronym, just like everything does in Fort Bend. And this acronym, I can't think of it. Please don't tell her I can't remember it. I'm on it and I can't remember the name, but it has parents, students, teachers, and then I'm the district personnel. But they have gone through, they've looked in depth at this report that we've received. And I hate to be the one to say this because we've heard it so much lately, but with COVID kind of coming in the middle of that, it's not that it has been put off, but the action plan that you are asking about was underway. And then we had to take a little bit of a hiatus because some of our members just really couldn't attend these meetings for various different reasons of what was going on. And they're starting back up again, I believe the second week in September. So there will be an action plan coming. Ms. Holmes is very transparent with parents. And if you have specific questions about that, you can always reach out to her. But that is our goal because all of the suggestions that were there have been discussed. The action plan, like I said, is on its way. Now, a deadline for that, I believe the latest would be December. I don't even think it's going to be that far, but we were just trying to get everything kind of in. The other piece that I know a lot of you probably know, if you follow the GTA, is Dr. Post was a key piece in that group. So there's an interim principal in right now. And it's one of those things where if we're going to begin that action plan, we want to make sure that the new administration is also on board with that. So it's just kind of where it is at the moment. But please don't think we're not on it or not wanting to pursue it. We absolutely are.
Excellent. That was the last question. So Wendy, back to you for your closing comments.
Yeah, well, I thank you all for coming again. As you can see on this slide, if you have any questions after this evening, you can feel free to email the GT PAC at fbisdgtpac@gmail.com. And I or Kim might get that email and we will either direct it to the proper person to answer your questions or we'll answer it if we know the answer. And so if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us or as Dr. Westphal said, to email her department. So we thank you guys all for coming and have a nice evening.
Thank you all.